Good afternoon. It's the 12th of November and it's miserable outside, so I thought I'd bring you some good news. And the good news that I'm referring to is this book here. It's called Amazed and it's by George Jones. Now, those of you who are listening to this and live outside Northern Ireland or are not Northern Irish, maybe you'll struggle with George Jones. Maybe you'll not know him, and that's quite understandable. But George Jones is a leading and still is a leading figure in the entertainment world of Belfast and beyond. He was born in 1941, and that makes him over 80, and he's still on the go. Born in East Belfast. I hope I'm still going at 80, over 80. Born in East Belfast and in round the Bloomfield area, not quite sure where. And he was he knew Van Morrison, and Van Morrison and he toured in Germany for many months with their band, the Monarchs, and they were following like the Beatles trail, where aspiring bands went off to Germany and played the clubs, and that's what he did. The Monarchs came home, and Van Morrison left, and George met up with a group of guys, and they formed another band, and George's band was called Clubsound, and they remained together for the guts of 50 years, which is quite amazing. Van went on, of course, to be lead singer of them, and then went out solo on his own, and we all know Van Morrison. So what have we got here? We've got an autobiography of George Jones's life, and I think there's about 200 pages in here. Yeah, 200 or so pages, and it's got photographs and all the rest of it. And what I found interesting about this book is that, if you're interested in the Northern Ireland club scene, the showband scene, or indeed the rock scene, George Jones was a part of that, and it's a sort of a social history, a lot of social history in this book, and George chummed around with people, that I would know from those early days. And I found that particularly interesting, how he made his way as a young man or young musician. It wasn't easy. But he has travelled the world with Clubsound. He's been on cruise ships with Clubsound. And all of this led to him getting radio work. Sort of a Belfast DJ, if you like. He was on Downtown. He was in Radio Ulster for 21 years with his Just Jones show, where he interviewed all the celebs that we would all know from those days. I mean, the top people. George interviewed the top people. That's unbelievable. The Radio Ulster show gave way to him joining U105, and then he returned back to Downtown Radio once again. But he didn't stop there. He moved into internet radio with Fever 40. On TV, he did Town Challenge, and he fronted Children in Need, and George was he is and was an amazing raconteur. He had all the jokes, he had all the fun, and these were especially appreciated in his Radio Ulster days when he, the Oma bomb had gone off and killed, I don't know, upwards of 30 people. And George was broadcasting at that time. He was, and he had already come through the Abercorn bomb as well, away, years earlier. So he was no stranger to the Belfast Troubles. And George carried on, and the folk who went through the Oma bomb, will tell us, those were depressing, downbeat days, and George Jones didn't shy away from talking about the Oma bomb and interviewing people who were there and what have you. But he brought humanity to the whole situation. He brought, as much understanding and compassion as he could, and he kept people's heads up. He provided hope on the radio, and he was a godsend to people living through that particular time. Later on, he, as I say, went through the cruise ships. He was on, I think it was the Queen Victoria, and he fronted his own showband scene revival shows called Do You Come Here Often? And all through it, George has remained a very popular, very versatile, well-known entertainer. This is surely one talented man, really talented guy. He talks about his family, and he talks about his depression in very, very honest terms. Let me tell you, I've read some number of books, and I really enjoyed reading the George Jones story. And the guy really appreciates the gifts and talents and the experiences that he has had through life. He has gone to so many places. He's interviewed so many different people. He's been into skiing. He's been into all sorts of things that you wouldn't even know about. So I'll run down the chapter headings. The early years. Are you mad? That was his father's reaction to him wanting to be a musician. The rock and roll years, the showband years, the beginnings of Clubsound, South Africa calls, health versus wealth. So they had to come home from South Africa. America, here we come. Radio meets Sadie. That's Sadie. He has multiple different voices and all the rest of it, and he'd phone different people on from his radio show and put on a different voice and surprise them in a happy way. Sadie was one of his best known characters, best known and best loved. The opening of television. So he did Town Challenge with Hugo Duncan, and he did Children in Need. He fronted that. Shocked and the height of my radio career, shocked and dumbfounded. That tells about him, being shown the door of BBC Radio Ulster after 21 years, and this is par for the course from the BBC, I'm afraid. Who said it was over? So he bounces back. The world awaits. Do you come here often? That tells about the showband revival that went on for quite a number of years. George fronted a whole stack of different shows running annually. When you've tried everything, by the age of 70, he had sunk low as regards depression, and he finally turned to God. through he would watch his daughter and her Christian faith, and he turns to God, and takes Jesus Christ as his Saviour. And that wasn't so long ago, it was about eight years ago. A tribute to family and friends. So I would thoroughly recommend this book. I think it's about a tenner or something like that, and probably be on Amazon and what have you. Some brilliant. George knew them all, you know. All the old show bands, you know, the Plattermen and Dave Glover and, you know, the Indians, and these boys were good. I used to listen to them all, you know. I thought they were wonderful. There's the Abercorn restaurant, and there's the Abercorn Bomb, and George was there. George with Don Felder of the Eagles. He does a Michael Flatley. Another Children in Need challenge. George wearing a Michael Flatley shirt. There's him with Alex Ferguson and Peter Schmeichel. It's unbelievable what this man has achieved throughout his life, and he's never give up. There's the Clubsound capers and the silver discs and all the rest of it. A remarkable man, still alive, still going strong, and now has embraced painting and thoroughly enjoys it. I'd love to get hold of one of his paintings. Get this book if you're interested in Belfast history, rock history, showband history, and just the life and times of George Jones. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And I forgot to mention this is George Jones' contact details. You can contact him through morriswileymedia.com, and this is Morris Wiley Media, your inspirational and Christian publisher. So that's who's published this book on George Jones, and you can buy it from their website, Morris Wiley Media.